Good evening. Welcome to the program. It's the Buddy Martin Show. And coming up in just a moment, the coach of the Florida Gators basketball women, Kelly Rae Finley, joins us for a special program. Peek-Wilbur will be here. She's always great to have on, and she'll have a few things to say. Always. Some of them controversial. And then Kevin Brockway will round out the night talking about what else the latest on what's happening in football. There are other things going on in Gainesville, however. Some of them are fairly important, like right now, it's not in Gainesville, but in Knoxville. Gator volleyball team is right in the middle of a third game. They're leading 2-1 over Tennessee. They're down 19-17 in the third, in the fourth set. So a lot of big things happening. They could win more and more. They win the big game up there in Knoxville. Stay tuned. Coach Finley is right around the corner. We may have a guest. The baby may join us too. Yeah, it's going to be a fun night right here in the Buddy Martin Show. Stay tuned. Tell your friends and neighbors we're on the air.
Yes, it's time again for Buddy Martin. Call him up and tell him what you're thinking. But be kind because he's doing the best he can.
Better, stronger, faster.
Mama says that alligators are ornery because they got all them teeth but no toothbrush.
Hey, what if the voice calls while you're gone?
Take a message.
Bye.
You ready, champ?
I'm ready for this my whole life.
I'm incapable of small talk. But that's why you love me, right?
Kind of intimidating to be in the presence of so many great athletes.
Evening, welcome. This lady right here has got her hands full, and that would be Coach Finley. Kelly Rae, it's so good to have you on the show. We've talked to you a few times, but haven't had you on. I don't think we ever had you on this show. Good to talk to you. Good to see you. And you got things going on in the background. In case we hear a baby cry, that would be the baby. Lakin?
Exactly.
Lakin?
Yeah, that would be Lakin. He seemed to think his bedtime was not 7 tonight, so. We're up partying as it's the eve. It's post-media day and the eve of our inaugural fashion show.
I know. I want to talk all about that pretty quick here in just a minute. Keep one eye towards this volleyball game. The volleyball team is now behind 2019 in the fourth set. They're up 2-1 on Tennessee in Knoxville, so keep an eye on that. But listen, I want to talk to you. First of all, a lot to talk about on the event, but I want to talk to you a little bit about you. Can this be year 5 for you, for crying out loud?
Yeah, I guess. That first year was an interim season. So going into year 4 full time, but year 5 and gosh, buddy, year 8 overall at the University of Florida. So.
Wow, that's amazing. Well, loved how you got the job and how you played your way into it and what you've done with the program. I know it takes a while to build, but
it does.
I mean, listen, Todd Golden's not doing you any favors over there. I mean, really.
You know what? Or is he, though? Because the buzz about basketball is tremendous. And so now we just want to carry that over on the women's side, right?
Yes, that's correct. And he's done a fabulous job. And I'm kidding because we've got a book coming out here soon by Franz Beard called The Golden Season. It's all about that year. What an incredible run. Every basketball fan, even if you're not a Gator basketball fan, can appreciate what that was like. I mean, I know you followed it every step of the way, and it's been fun. Yeah. Well, tell me a little bit about your team, about this year, before we get into the program, part about the event.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we're really excited. The buzz, like I said, around basketball in general in Gainesville is tremendous. And we have a really special, unique team. They're young and hungry, but very versatile and talented. And so we returned our core group from last season in Liv McGill, Layla Reynolds, Miara O'Neal, Davi. And then with the change in the JUCO rule, Alexia DeZecco was able to return to us, which was huge. She is a tremendous stabilizer for our program, and just a joy to be around in every way. And so this off season was a bit unique, buddy. We have 7 international student athletes,
Wow.
all who were able to compete with their national teams. Liv McGill being chosen as the USA point guard. Unfortunately, she wasn't able to compete with them. She was here training with us, which I guess to our advantage. But nonetheless, it's a prestigious opportunity to be chosen for that team. And so we're excited about our young core, and excited, for Gator Nation to show up and show out November 3rd for our home opener.
Yes. All right. Let's get into the event now. I don't know a lot about this. I got the release. Interest. I know it's a big fundraiser you
Yeah.
got going on, and it's called Elieve, I think, 352.
Yeah, you're French. I don't know, buddy. How good's your French? Eleve,
Elevate. Okay. Elevate. Okay.
You
Looks
know,
like
in honor of
elevators.
our international speakers, right?
Oh,
So we
okay.
got some French, some Portuguese, some Italian, obviously English, Japanese, Yoruba on our team. So our young women can do it all. But the event tickets are on sale now. The event is tomorrow evening. In order to purchase, please go to our Instagram. I want to say our socials, but I guess our Instagram is the best place to go. Gators WBK. But Elevate 352 kicks off. Doors open for VIP at 6:15 tomorrow night. And 7 o'clock, doors will open for general admission. Going to be highlighting a lot of up and coming designers, people that have flown in from all over the country. But will be a great event celebrating women's basketball, the Gator community as a whole, and kicking off homecoming weekend.
And at Cade Museum, which is
Absolutely.
an incredible place and an incredible story, part of Florida's history. It is for entrepreneurs. They do that a lot over there, and
Yeah.
terrific. And you got, as you point out, you got general admission and VIP tickets. The VIP guests enjoy the early entrance, a private happy hour, exclusive meet and greet, putting you in front and center for everybody for an unforgettable night. So the ticket supports the Florida Gators women's basketball team, champions mental health awareness. Yay for that. Making your night both glamorous and meaningful. Enter early at 6:15. Guests at happy hour, etc. Doors open, as you say, 7 p.m. for general admission. So this is, you're such a sophisticated. You have to go back to school and take all these languages, Kelly.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wow.
The good news is, buddy, that basketball is a universal language, right?
And that's the truth. It really is now. Everywhere you go, you see, my gosh, and certainly in the NBA, you see all these countries represented. So it is an international sport in every way whatsoever. All right, so let's talk a little about specifically about the SEC. Tough place to play anyway. Tell me about who's really good this year in the women's national picture, who's really good in the SEC, and how do the Gators fit into all that?
Yeah, so, obviously for us, SEC is the premier league in women's basketball, right? The best of the best and true competitors come here to play. So every night it's going to be a great challenge for us. UConn obviously returns the core of their group. South Carolina is always going to be a contender.
Naturally. Boy, she's an incredible coach.
Yeah,
Wow.
what Coach Staley has been able to do there has been incredible. Building that foundation in a different era of basketball, I believe is an asset, but what she's done is incredibly admirable. Tennessee, has invested a lot in their women's basketball program. I could go down the line and tell you why every SEC opponent is going to be a tough draw, but I can also tell you where our advantages are. And we have an elite point guard. We have experienced guard play. Layla and Liv were able to grow in that through the season last year. We had some growing pains. But, a lot of times we talked about what's the difference between Walter Clayton, his junior year and his senior year, right?
Wow.
experience. It's the greatest teacher of all. And so Miara O'Neal has made tremendous steps in her process over the course of the summer. She's bigger, she's faster, she's stronger. Her IQ has improved. She's able to really begin to show her skill set. And then, newcomers, Caterina Piatti is from Italy. She's got a lot of international experience. Dad's a coach, mom's a coach, both played, right? So when you talk about that language that is basketball, she's very, very comfortable. And I'm excited for everybody to see her shine this season as well.
You mentioned Walter Finley. Seems to me he followed the women's basketball program pretty well. And talk about the interaction that your players had with some of these guys who were such wonderful players, including Walter was amazing.
Yeah, and they're good players, but great people. And that's what we have in our basketball complex. It's a unique environment that men's and women's staffs, we spend time together. Our players, we practice at similar times, so they're in the training room a lot together.
Yeah.
And the difference that Elijah Martin was able to make when he joined the Gators was huge, right? He's just a competitor. He set a standard. But Will and Alex and Tommy, all those guys, when the Gators win, we all win, right? And that was resounding message in that training room in our basketball complex. We're all rooting for each other. They talk game plans, they talk strategies, but most of all, they talk about the pride that there is to be a Gator and what that means. And so as we, embark on the season ahead, it's not just a new season. It's an opportunity for women's basketball to write this chapter the way that we want it to be written.
What's it like to be the coach of a school like Florida, the everything school, where everybody's expected to win all the time? So many championships. It's a lot of pressure.
There's not too much patience here, buddy.
No.
You know what? That's great, because as a competitor, that's what you want. Florida is the best of the best, and it's where the best come to play, compete, to coach. We're surrounded by greatness in every aspect. And, people say a lot. You hear the saying, you are the company you keep. We keep great company, and we're excited about what's ahead for us.
All right, let's put the basketball on the back burner for 1 second. Talk about Lakin. First of all, I love that name. I'm not sure where it came from, but
I'm not really sure where it came from either. But
it sounds like it has something to do with the Lakers. I don't know. But anyway, the point is Lakin.
A lot of people have said that to me, and I'm from Minnesota, buddy. So
I know.
10,000 lakes.
Yeah. Well, there you go. That makes sense.
Yeah, his dad, it was just a name that came to us kind of in the last couple of days before he was born. But Sean is a waterman. He's an elite waterman. He's a lifeguard on the North Shore, Oahu. So big wave lifeguard. It's a totally different world. But he's with us now in Gainesville, and I'm very fortunate to have his support.
Well, that's great. I love Hawaii. So Lakin was born in March. Is that right?
You know what, buddy? He was born on the day we played Minnesota. We unfortunately fell short in that Final Four, that WBIT. So I was watching from the hospital bed. We had just had him, and thankfully everything went very smoothly. I was able to coach against UNLV out in Las Vegas. And then had hoped to make that trip, but it just really wasn't in the cards for us.
Well, you're a Minnesota girl. You're from a basketball family, aren't you?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Your dad?
My dad coached.
Yeah.
He won a lot of games. Coached high school, had several state championships, and coached a lot of us who went on to play college basketball.
Sorry for not having that at my fingertips. I just knew a little bit
that's
about
pretty good, but I'm impressed, buddy.
No. And, of course, Northwestern, the fine university.
Yeah.
Where you went to school. The bio says you were involved in the Boys and Girls Club of Fort Collins.
Yeah. So I did. I ended up getting injured at Northwestern. And, back then I knew I wasn't going to be a pro. I knew that wasn't something that was going to be in my future, but I loved the game and I wanted to continue to play. So instead of medically retiring, I transferred And back in those days, you had to sit out a year. So I was going to
Yeah,
allow,
that's right. That's
yeah,
right.
myself to heal. I had a great time at Colorado State, but I learned a lot. I think I am a much better coach because of that experience. Um, and I think giving back to your community and the people around you is paramount when you have the opportunities that we're afforded in this business and at a university like Florida, Colorado State, Northwestern, you name it. There's a responsibility to give back.
Fort Collins is a little secret for those who don't know. I know about it. I lived in Colorado 15 years. And of course, Urban Meyer was there. And Shelley loved it there so much. She was a psychiatric nurse there in Fort Collins. And when Urban got hired by Notre Dame, she said, "Do we have to go? Why do coaches have to keep moving?" She loved it there. So Fort Collins is a special place, and those Rockies are hard to beat. You've been out there; it's something special. Did you ski while you were there?
I've skied in my past, but wasn't able to. As a college athlete, I then
Yeah,
ended up working at University of Colorado for
I
4 years.
got you. I got you.
Had a good time there too, but no, not a real skier.
Yeah, me either. By the way, uh, I want you to tell me a little bit about uh, your partner's musical career here. I'm fascinated by that. What's the deal there?
A musical career.
It says in your bio, I thought he said he did. It said Kelly Rae's partner, Jason, is a musician and songwriter.
Oh no, that must not
That's
be my bio. I don't know who mistyped my bio, but they got
okay.
to clean that up. My partner is Sean. He's my fiance,
Yeah.
and like I said, he's a lifeguard.
Well, obviously they got that wrong because
Yeah, no, I don't know who Jason is, but
well, there you go. You never know. Maybe you got somebody else out there. Well, okay. It's bad on the University of Florida, bad PR. But the bottom line is, Oahu and Hawaii. What is? Do
yeah.
you go out there very much?
Yeah, we're fortunate we get to go out in the off season. This summer, during this off season, it was unique. We didn't have everybody on campus. Lux was with the senior women's team. Sarah Dang from Australia, she was playing for South Sudan. They won their first ever Afro-Basket game, which is big time. And Kat Mills Nitty, one of our other freshmen, she competed for Canada this summer. And so we didn't have a lot of our student athletes on campus over the whole summer. And so being a new mom, we were able to spend some time before summer school began out in Oahu. And we like to spend some time out there. It's a nice, relaxing place to be and totally different pace to life.
I wanted to say to you that Allie Peek-Wilbur apologizes for being late. She's tied up on another show. She's going to join us in just a moment. I hope I can hold you for a few more minutes.
Oh, that's okay. She's a busy lady, What can you...
She's great. She does a great job. And hopefully she'll be able to join us. Trying to wrap up the interview right now. But
No stress.
tell me, all right, look, I'm a prospect. Okay. I'm a woman. I'm interested in playing SEC basketball. And I've got several schools in mind. One of them is Florida. Pitch me on why I need to pick Florida over whoever I'm going to pick.
Oh, that's a great question. It's the best of the best, right? Like I said earlier, it is the company you keep, and the best come to compete at Florida, right? You got great weather, you got top academics, and you have the total package here at the University of Florida. On top of that, you got an old school approach to coaching, right? You got coaches who are going to push you, challenge you, love you, care about you beyond the basketball court. And I think that's something that is sometimes lost in the business of sport these days. But great people will be who surrounds you in every aspect of your life here at the University of Florida. People who are willing to go above and beyond to ensure your success. And one thing that I'll tell you, buddy, Grant Holloway told me this, and I'll never forget it. He was talking to a recruit at one point when he was in school at the University of Florida. And he said, I came back because this will be the last time in my life everybody is for me. And everybody here at the University of Florida wants to see me succeed. And that's not something that you find everywhere. We have the resources, we have the opportunities. The dining hall is second to none. We just got to put it together. And if you are a competitor and you want to do something for the first time, Florida's the place to be.
I heard one of your fellow coaches, I wish I could remember, it was a he, who it was today in the SEC Media Days, talking about his wife saying to him one time, the best advice she ever gave him was, if they don't like you, they love you, they're not going to play for you. And he said the most important thing is to have them love you, and they won't quit on you, and they'll keep playing for you. And he said that was the difference in his. Now, as a fan, I love hearing that.
Yeah.
I like to think those things still matter.
Yeah.
But we kind of think, well, it's all NIL deals and this, that, and the other, whatever. It's about selfishness. Look, everybody's got a little greed in them. I grant you, including us. But these kids that play and play hard, they have in their hearts, they do care for everybody, their teammates, their coach, and the university. Am I right about that?
Absolutely. And what's unique about our team, and we were talking about it on the plane today, buddy, was their loyalty, their dedication to each other. One of them was asked today, why did they stay when they could have gone somewhere else and gotten more money, right?
Right.
And the reason was there's a non-monetary value. Now, you still, as a woman leading women, I want to teach them what a good business deal looks like, right?
Yes.
And so there's a monetary value, but there's also a non-monetary value to what we do, right? And if you bet on yourself, Layla Reynolds, she is the consummate teammate and Florida Gator. And buddy, I'll tell you, she said, Kelly, if I am as good as I should be, I believe that I can earn everything that I should make here at the University of Florida. I just need to make us good enough. Well, dang, those student athletes are kind of far and few between. But I'll tell you, we have them on our women's basketball team right now, and they're committed to helping this program take that next step.
Interesting. Dan Bond from Dallas wants to know, says, Coach, what's your favorite road venue?
Road venue? Favorite place to play at? Or for
what he means, he says road venue. I guess he means.
I'd say LSU is pretty fun to play at.
Really?
Yeah, we a couple of years ago we beat them by 4 at our place, and then we went to their place. And I like to compete against Coach Mulkey because she's just fun. She's a great coach. She's a strong competitor. But we had a great game there. We ended up losing by 4, but man, the atmosphere was electric.
How much does Mulkey pay for her dresses?
You know what? That's a good question. She might have an NIL deal, buddy.
Well, she was wearing a long time there. I'm told they're like incredibly expensive.
I would guess.
All those look at it. Sequins and all that stuff. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Well, here's the fashion expert would know the answer to that question. Kim Mulkey's dresses. Allie Peek-Wilbur, say hello to Kelly Rae Finley.
Hello, Kelly. How are you?
Hey, Allie. I'm good. How are you?
Good. Thanks for hanging on. I was juggling lots of different things going on tonight, but I appreciate getting to hang out with you. And I also appreciate what you wear on the sidelines far more than what Kim Mulkey wears. So.
Thank you. Sequins is just not, to each their own, but sequins, it's not really my style.
No, that's okay. I don't know that that's a very Louisiana thing, and that's totally.
I was going to say us Minnesotans, maybe not quite so much.
Not so much. Probably not us Floridians down here. You're a transplant. You've adopted the whole.
Exactly. I was thinking the other day, I thought to myself, Allie, geez, I've spent my 30s in Florida.
You have.
That's pretty crazy.
I have been here my whole life, and I will never leave. I think it's the absolute best state, and we're really lucky to have you in Gainesville. I don't know what Buddy got to talk to you about beforehand, but he sent me all of your information about the Runway to the Rim. Tell me a little bit about it. I think that this is so creative. I feel like we see so many different types of fundraisers, but a fashion show is incredibly unique.
Yeah, we spent some time brainstorming, what would be fun, what's something that our student athletes could get behind. They've had a huge part in planning this event. They reached out to some of the vendors, they reached out to stylist friends, people that they know, um, and really have had a huge part in putting everything together in combination with the Dazzlers. So we had a whole, walk the runway lesson the other day.
I love
I
that.
don't know, we got to take some entertainment pieces from the Dazzlers. They do a great job for all of our teams. But it's, as women, we're so much more than athletes, right? And so the confidence that's going to shine tomorrow evening, I'm really excited to see.
And how did you pick mental health awareness as what you wanted to bring attention to and
I
raise
like
money
that.
for?
Yeah.
Yeah, great question. I think so many times in this space of athletics, especially in Gainesville, especially at the University of Florida, Buddy alluded to this earlier, there's an expectation and a pressure to win.
Mm-hmm.
Our student athletes are still 18 to 22-year-old young adults.
Yep.
And sometimes what you read about yourself on social media, it gets a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
it gets a little bit tough. And to remember that they're humans first, that
Yeah.
we're competitors, but that we're people, and we're people that are showing up and showing out for our community, our school, and are in front of many, many people, right? That can be difficult.
Mm-hmm.
But we talk as a program a lot about we train our bodies. Well, if we train our minds in the same way, how much healthier may we be, right? And mental health is very real. It's something that we all can relate to, whether that's good mental health. I struggle with this. Oh, I'm having a great day. What that looks like, right? And it's something that everybody can relate to. And so for us, it's a cause that we really want to get behind.
I think that it's really interesting and unique that you tied the fashion show aspect to that, because I feel like there probably is some confidence that can be gained from walking the runway and maybe facing of some fears as
I
well.
was going to say we have some that are very nervous.
Yes.
And maybe not quite so confident, but it's okay to do things that are outside your comfort zone, right? On the court, we're very comfortable and confident. But to do things that are outside of your comfort zone, it just builds strength. It builds character. We talk a lot about what happens to a muscle if you don't use it. It atrophies, right? And so it's a muscle that we need to exercise, and it will be on full display tomorrow night for sure.
So I don't know if Buddy told you this, but my husband played football at Florida in the 2000s. And he was on the 06 national championship team. And during the season that year, they lost to Auburn. And he was a punter. And he dropped a snap, the only one of his entire career that he dropped. And afterwards, that was when Facebook was just for college students.
Yeah.
But there was a group created that was, F. Eric Wilbur, he cost us a shot at the national championship. And he got all of these mean, messages and stuff. I remember how detrimental that was then. And I think about how social media was so minuscule compared to what it is now. How do you shield them a little bit from, I don't want to say the armchair quarterbacks, but essentially just everybody that has an opinion. And when you're behind a screen, you are so free to share that opinion without consequences, essentially.
Absolutely. I first of all, thanks for sharing that, because it's something that I think as athletes we can all relate to, right? I'll never forget the first time I got an email that was totally outrageous, and I'm like, wow, you don't think I should be alive because we lost?
Right.
Okay. Whoa, like this is real. But I was also like 36 at the time. It's a heck of a lot different than 18, right? And so while we can't shield them, we can continue to guide them and speak truth and perspective and put people around them. Buddy and I talked a lot before you got on, Allie, about the company that you keep, right? Mm-hmm. And the community and the family that is the University of Florida and their student athletes, as well as the student body, is really second to none, and our dining hall provides an opportunity for that community
Yeah.
where, our student athletes even, this season, I feel really bad for so-and-so. Well, did you send them a message? Did you tell them you're rooting for them? Did you tell them, and so just to have that community, I think is really great and can be very powerful.
Yeah, I know. I think that UF with their new facility did such a nice job. You weren't here with the old Gator dining, but
You know what? I was 1 year. I went over
you?
there 1 year, as crazy as that sounds, but it was much different, and it was a tremendous. It's been a great, great investment.
It is so beautiful, and it's so neat. And even, they even welcome former athletes in there, which I think is so cool.
Yeah.
My brother swears it's the best $10 steak you can get in Gainesville.
Oh, 100%.
It's changed a lot. Talk to me a little bit about you have mentioned over the years about elevating the standard within your program. And I think that you have clearly done that, the things that you're talking about from a behind the scenes perspective and how you get them to train. But how do you raise the standard for this upcoming season?
Wins. We do that with wins, Allie. We don't shy away from the truth in our program. One of our core values, and anybody who knows me knows, the honesty is of the utmost importance. You just don't tell a lie, and it's okay to tell the truth and stand in your truth. And you don't shy away from trying your best. And I think many times this generation, we as people kind of shield ourselves from, because what if I try my best and it's still not good enough?
Right.
It's okay. It's life. That's what happens. But it doesn't mean you don't try your best, right? Be courageous in all things that you do. And I internally, we feel like we've made great progress. We feel like we're poised for a very good season ahead. We're still young, but we're young and hungry, right? And a little bit of that old school approach to building, right? Our freshmen have now turned to sophomores, and our sophomore turned to a junior. We still only have one senior this year. But returning that core has been very integral, and having consistency in your roster is something that you just really don't see. And so being able to retain them and build on that, as it relates to winning, we should see a lot of this non-conference season in the O-Dome.
Have you seen the team chemistry just improve because there are so many people who have now been there for at least this season?
Yeah, and you know what? Like, they're understanding now what that standard is, right? When Layla Reynolds talks and she's like, she has to step into a leadership role for us, a vocal leadership role. Liv McGill, Miara O'Neill, they have to do those things. Alexia Dizecco, she has to do that. It's not just the coaches saying, here's the standard, here's what we do, No, it's like, hey, let's do this. This is what we do, right? And player-led teams are always the best type of team. And that's what we're looking to have this season.
I've always felt like, excuse me for interrupting this great conversation, because I could just listen to you talk, and it just sounds kind of sexist in a way, I guess, but it's reverse. Is that in my business, working with sports writers and women, I have found women to be much better teammates than men. They are reliable. They're mostly honest. They'll tell you what they think. They're strong. Women are really strong. I mean, they're a lot stronger than men are. I'll tell you the truth. They are.
But you said it. We didn't. Okay?
No, I live by it. Listen, I was raised by two women, my sister and my mom. I love my dad, but they were divorced. My point is that just in general, I find it easier to be around women friends and in the professional than I do men. Now, I have a lot of good buddies. Don't get me wrong. You two are kind of sort of front runners and pioneers in your own way. You played for a coach and you had a basketball background. You wandered all the way from Minnesota to Denver, to Fort Collins, to Florida. Now you've been here all of your 30s, as you say. You're trying to carve out this niche for women's basketball. And Allie is amazing too. Allie, I'm gonna put you up here. I want you to educate Kelly a little bit about your family. She's like a 5-time legacy. Pull that picture out on your right side. I knew
Let's
this.
get Allie. Come on, give me.
I knew this guy.
So, this is my grandfather, Scotty Peek. He played for Florida. He actually played for Florida, left, fought in World War II, and then came back and finished his career at Florida. He ran track there too. My dad played at Florida. My brother played at Florida. My husband played at Florida. My cousin swam at Florida. There was a lot of we are Gators through and through. And honestly, growing up on the sidelines at UF at practices is why I wanted to cover sports. I always joke I'm the only 12-year-old girl that cried when Florida State beat Florida in 1996, in the regular season.
Right.
And it's very much shaped who I am. I love Florida athletics. I think that it's just such a special place. It's such an amazing university, and it, has changed the course of my family's life. Like my grandfather being there in the late 40s dictated the path that the rest of us took, which is kind of cool. And I feel strongly about the university and who they hire and who represents us. And that's why it's really neat to be on with you, because not every sport has always had a coach that I'm thrilled is representing us, but I feel like you are somebody that all of us are incredibly proud of.
Oh, well, thank you for saying that. And, like I said, we always talk about we have to do the right thing. And that doesn't mean you don't make mistakes. And when you do, you own it, right? And when you fall short, you own that too. You don't shy away from that. But we feel like it's time for us to kind of take that next step and turn the corner in the win column. And we've talked a lot as a team, Allie, about that's not pressure. Mm-hmm. That's a privilege. And I know that's an old saying, but it's okay to strive for that. It's okay to say that that's what we want. And it's okay to say, hey, we need Gator Nation behind us to help us get there.
Do you think, I know you guys were talking about this a little bit when I came on, and, the men's basketball team winning a national championship probably does put some pressure, but is there any truth to the idea that a rising tide raises all ships? Like, does the excitement, yeah.
That's exactly what we talked about today. We were on SEC Media Day, and they were kind of talking, oh, well, is that, I'm like, wait, what do you mean? Like, Gator basketball is all of us. Gator basketball is on the rise. Gator basketball is something to be excited about, and that's both the men's and the women's programs, right? But you have to invest. You have to show up. It doesn't work the other way. Win, and then we will show up. And Gator Nation, sometimes that's how we want it to be, right? That's okay. But I tell you that when people do come and when the season does begin, I think they'll really be excited what they see on the court.
All right, so this is not just an all-women show. We got a guy here who's been standing by patiently before Kelly Rae goes, Kevin Brockway, the Gainesville son, and he'll join the discussion. And I'm going to ask Kelly Rae to repeat again the event. Make sure we say it right. Elevate. What it is.
Your French has improved already.
on Thursday night, an NL event, and something is kind of special for you guys. And say good evening to Kevin there.
Well, we got to pass along our congratulations to Kelly Rae for being a new mom.
Yeah,
I'm sure it's exciting and has a lot of challenges. Yeah,
not new anymore. She's been a mom for a while.
We're 6 months into this thing, but I don't know. It still feels a little new, right?
Yeah, but Lakin has not made a sound. You said, well, he may say me crying. He hadn't made a sound. So kudos to Lakin.
Good. Yeah, let's just put him to bed soon, okay?
Go ahead, Kevin.
Wishing you all the best, Kelly Rae. It's amazing. About 4 or 5 years ago, when I was up in Indiana, I got to do the Big Ten women's tournament, and I got to see Caitlin Clark, and it's so amazing. And the strides that have been made in women's basketball at the collegiate level, I think the last 2 decades has been amazing. And it would be, quite exciting if it can come here to Gainesville and if you can make it work, because it is an exciting game.
Absolutely. That's the plan, Kevin.
All right.
Final thoughts for the coach. The Florida Gator has been so kind tonight to be with us. My gosh, look at this time we had her. And appreciate it very much, Kelly Rae. Wish you much luck on your deal. Give us your final wrap-up and final thoughts as you prepare to go into your 5th season, Alex.
Yeah,
fifth season.
5th season, but kind of really 4th, buddy. Come on.
Okay.
No, I just am appreciative of this time. Thank you guys for your insight. Thank you for your questions, your thoughtfulness. Gator Nation, we look forward to seeing you on November 3rd. And if you don't have plans tomorrow evening, Elevate 352 at the Cade Museum. Doors open for general admission at 7 p.m. and we'd love to see you all there.
Thank you, Coach Finley. We really enjoyed having you. Hope we get you back again sometime.
All right. Sounds good. Have a good night. Go Gators.
All right. Thank you very much. All right. You're right about that, Allie. I think there's something about her. She's got that quality that
wonderful.
She really is. She is terrific. And you just know she has to win. I mean, but on the other hand, Kevin, we're talking about a coach in football who supposedly has it going the right direction and has the players liking him and all that stuff. And he's going to get fired this weekend, probably, isn't he?
Well, yeah, it's a results business. Yeah, unfortunately, and the results have not been there. But it's funny. We were just at Billy Napier's press conference a couple hours ago, and he seems strangely calm and resigned to his fate. These last 2 press conferences are as relaxed as I've seen him all season. And he's stayed enthusiastic up until the end, and we will see if it's the end against Mississippi State or not, win or lose. I mean, there is precedent to be fired even off a win. We saw that a couple of years ago with Jimbo Fisher. But I do think that certainly maybe there's a chance he goes into Georgia, but then beyond that, I mean, who knows? Because I just don't see too many more wins on the schedule after Mississippi State in terms of, what they've got coming up, particularly that Georgia game and that, Ole Miss game, certainly on November 15th. That's 2 top 10 teams right there, one in Jacksonville and one on the road. And by the way, 0-14 now away from the swamp against ranked opponents.
Yeah. We're going to talk about when we think the Hacks is going to fall and all the other stuff. Let me do this quick commercial. I do have to pay a few bills around here because we've been talking a lot about other things, but just let me say that folks over at Meldon Law, there's a QR code if you need a lawyer. Click on that and check it out. And, their story, they love the Gators. They love what they do. They love representing you. If you have an issue, legal issue, I recommend them highly. I've used them myself. Call them up. They have 4 offices to serve you, now 5. Opening one down in South Florida, along with Ocala, Gainesville, Wilson, Lake City. If they don't have the specialist you need, they'll find it for you. And, of course, you know what Jeffrey does. Jeffrey supports the Gators every way he can, including his tremendous giveaway program on Facebook page, Around the Law. And he, of course, is a big fan of all the sports, especially in basketball. He was able to visit and go with Todd and follow him all this year and loved every minute of it. Meldon Law, they won't back down. Okay, guys, how many games are left that they can win, number one? And secondly, when is the axe going to fall? Allie, you go first.
I think they're all winnable on this schedule. Now, that doesn't mean I think they're going to win them all. I'm going to guess that they can get 6-ish wins is what I'm going to think. And I do, from what I've heard, I do think the axe is going to fall on Sunday. But I don't know that he doesn't coach out the whole season. Some of the stuff I've heard is that there's really not somebody that is acceptable, but also interested in being the interim head coach. So we may look at a situation like Ron Zook.
Mm-hmm. That's kind of what I said about 3 weeks ago. Let him coach the season. If he wants to, he's working, getting paid, let him work. They haven't got anybody there.
How much he loves the players. So I guess this would
there
be.
You go. Well, wouldn't you want to see it through, right? I mean, I don't know. So, Kevin, you agree with that?
I mean, in theory, I just don't know if he'll do it. But if he does do it, I mean, that would be that would tell me that how big of a man he is and how much he does really care about his players. If he did do that, but that being said, I agree with Allie in terms of I think 6-6 is highly possible. I don't see them beating Ole Miss on the road at this point. That could change. Georgia's looked a little more vulnerable this year than they have in past years, but I still don't know if Florida has enough, based on what we've seen this season. Now, listen, Billy is saying DJ's getting healthier, but he even admitted, earlier in the year, though, in terms of, the run element of his game isn't there. And who knows if it's, I looked this up, 4 net yards rushing for DJ Lagway and 70 gained, 66 loss on sacks. But I mean, that's, that element of his game, we've just never seen it because he just hasn't been healthy enough. Maybe, Billy alluded back to the Kentucky game, obviously, before he got hurt against Georgia with the hamstring. But it's like I said, unfortunate chain of events. But yeah, maybe Billy would see it through, but it's this day and age, it's just so hard. It's just so rare that we've seen that. I mean, we saw that with Ron Zuck, but that was 20 years ago, buddy. I mean, that was a long time ago. Yeah.
And that was a different, I don't know, that they beat the number 1 team on the road that year in LSU. Obviously, they, carried him off on Ron Zuck Field the night that that field was dedicated to Bobby Bowden. It was a different time and place, but if he is staying on, it just feels very much like placating very specific fans if you let him go now instead of letting him go at the end of the season if you were going to have him coach all the way through.
I think and it's interesting because the Matt Hayes story came out today that I'm sure you guys saw.
Yeah,
I think they would have preferred for this to be more silent in that regard. Like I think they would have preferred to have him coach out the season without that, without even making an announcement. And I mean that could be possible too. I mean,
I think some I don't know how to say this the correct way. I think that people in the know made sure that everyone was in the know so that there wasn't a possibility that they could punt this for another year. So I think this information was leaked from boosters purposefully.
Allie, you said this to me last spring, and you said my sources have told me that Billy has told prospects he's going to have a new offensive coordinator. That's what you told me.
Yep.
And I think that's what he wanted to do. But then on the other hand, I can't blame Charlie Weiss Jr. Why would we want to go coach the lame duck? What's he got to gain by that,
Not a lot. But is that the only person he talked to, or did he really exhaust all options and try and land on himself being the best choice? Like, I mean, shoot, buddy, you were available. That would have been a better choice.
Yeah, well, I'm not so sure they could pay me enough. Yeah, I would. I think it is what it is, and it's going to be the way, like they say, there's 2 kind of coaches who've been fired and coaches who are going to get fired. And we've seen most of that.
Yeah.
I saw some stuff online today about how Florida has screwed up every coaching hire and that they've never had, one guy said, they've never hired who they wanted to hire. Who they said they were going to hire, they didn't hire. That's just not true. I can go back far enough with you on that to Doug Dickey, who was, by the way, a very desirable guy at that time. And then, of course, with Spurrier, we all know that story. I think they made the exception in Urban.
Yeah, I think Spurrier and Urban. But I will say, Florida, by and large, in the modern football era, has not ever made a splash hire. Spurrier was a splash hire because Florida fans knew who he was, but it's not like they went and robbed a power program of a coach. He was at Duke. Urban, who obviously worked out here, was only in his 2nd year at Utah, and before that only had 2 years at Bowling Green. So even though he worked out, that's not going in and plucking, the guy you want from Ohio State or Michigan or Notre Dame or Georgia, anything like that. Dan Mullen, honestly, is probably the guy that you could say was the splashiest hire because he at least was at another SEC program at the time we've hired him. But I can see why fans would say we haven't done a great job. And it's probably because we haven't ever been willing to pay the big fish. But now if we want a big fish, we're looking between 10 and $12 million a year. So we're going to see if UF's administration is willing to do that.
I will say that
price of fish has gone up.
Yeah, I will say this, Allie, because I remember when they flew me out to do Urban at Utah. Urban was, I mean, that was a 12-0 season that he was having.
Oh, yeah.
He was on the comm, and Florida beat out Notre Dame to get him. So I think he was,
and he
in that aspect.
Name.
Yeah, I think in that aspect he was a little bit of a big fish, and Mullen coming from Mississippi State. But buddy, I kind of have this theory going back to your days though, in terms of like the big name. Do you think, but because things didn't work out for Doug Dickey for many years, that was one of the reasons why they didn't go for an established coach, and it went all the way back to the 1970s, and that experience not working, that they didn't, because they do seem to go young hungry. They seem to have a profile. It's early 40s, mid 40s. They don't go for that. McElwain was a little bit older, but he was still from a smaller school. But that seems like that's kind of the profile.
They fall in love with people. And let me just say this. The Doug Dickey thing was done at the highest level. The politicians and everybody got involved in that. And that was a commitment that Doug didn't technically make before the season, before the year. He wasn't going to say yes. But they had that backroom deal. And Ray Graves didn't want to go when the time came. He wanted to stay, and he had the best year ever, and he couldn't stay. And then, of course, then they beat Tennessee in the bowl game. And Tennessee was the SEC champion. And Dickey came here with a lot of ballyhoo with Reeves and Alvarez, and it was pretty much a disaster. And Dickey's whole coaching career really wasn't very good. And his offense, which was good at Tennessee. By the way, he pioneered a lot of African-American players in Tennessee. He did a lot of good things, but he never got to do it. And he's a Gainesville guy from University of Florida, went to PKU. So you look at those situations and you say, well, I mean, Will Muschamp was the guy everybody wanted. He was a coach in waiting for Mac Brown. He had a Gainesville background. He loved Gainesville, loved the Gators.
I think he'd still be the coach here had he had a different offensive coordinator.
Yeah, but that's part of it, is that he didn't have enough emphasis on offense. He was a defensive coach. This is what happens. They get stuck in the mode. I don't know. To answer your question, maybe, but I think people just they want the coach du jour. Who is the hot guy right now? The hot guy right now is Cignetti, but he's probably too old. We'll see how that works out. Lane is the guy. I mean, he's the guy majority. I just read a thing from a friend of mine saying that, that everybody, the money people are still split about this. There's a group of them that know Urban's not going to come, but they kind of want to make a play for him. Lane is the guy, but a lot of people say Lane's not going to come. And if Lane comes and brings Charlie Weiss, that would be obviously a great idea. And then after that, you go into Cignetti's and all the other people at that point in time. So I think it's still wide open, but it's who gets there first with the money. And like Shane says, nobody's offered anybody anything yet that we know of, right?
I mean, if they don't get Lane, I mean, the names that I'm hearing are Eli Drinkwitz and Rhett Lashley.
Yeah.
Those
I don't hear so much Lashley. I think a lot of people think he's just flash in the pan.
He's about fifth on the list.
Yeah,
so if we end up with Lashley, I think 4 people have told him no.
Right.
I have heard that they're vetting Marcus Freeman too.
I like Marcus Freeman a lot, and I know a guy who knows him quite well. Says he's Irish through and through. He loves.
Well, the interesting thing that I heard this week from somebody that knows him is that supposedly he is not allowed to choose his offense or defensive coordinator at Notre Dame. And that has caused some frustration because currently he's getting a lot of flack for his offense that he doesn't have control over.
Well, I'll call my guy. He'll know. He's a Notre Dame graduate, and he knows all about it. We'll find that out next week.
Yeah, so if that's true, that makes him seem more available than I thought he was previously.
Yeah.
I've heard that he's interested to back channels in Florida as well.
Yeah. Let me get most of his 90-second forecasts. If you're an analyst for a stock company, this is what to expect out of the Florida football program in the next 2 months, and who the guy will be and who, and give me your best guess. And you got 90 seconds apiece. Kevin, you start it.
What in terms of just their record?
Just here's how you think it's going to go. This is your analysis.
I think it's going to go either Eli or Rhett Lashley, and I think that they'll get to 6 wins, and I think that Billy will be asked to leave after the Georgia game.
Who's the coach going to be?
I think that asked to leave. He could end up coaching the rest of the season. If not, then I think they'll go with Billy Gonzalez and keep the coordinators.
Now, who's the new coach going to be?
And I told you the new coach is going to be either Eli Drinkwitz or Rhett Lashley.
Well, I didn't know you. That's part of this. That's what you said. Okay. All right. Well, that's your pick. Yeah. All right. All right, Allie, give us your prognosis and tell us what you think is going to happen.
So I think barring a 40-point win on Saturday, he's going to be let go on Sunday. If what I'm hearing is correct, I think there's a great chance he stays on and finishes the season. I've been told Ron Roberts is not interested in being an interim coach. I think Jaluk isn't a possibility after you slap a opposing team's player. Gonzalez would have always been my pick because I think he's the only person that knows what winning at the University of Florida looks like on that staff. So I think that's what happens. And I think Florida's head coach is one of these 5. Marcus Freeman, Rhett Lashley, Brent Key, Drinkwitz.
Interesting. Yeah, Brent Key. I keep hearing his name.
I think it'll be one of those 5. I think 2 of those 5 ignite Gator Nation much more than the other 3 do. I think all 5 are probably an improvement over what we've got. But I think it's going to be an interesting few weeks for Gator Nation.
I think Lane's the guy. If they don't get him, it's going to be a come down. Be disappointed. I don't know if there's anybody out there just flies on everybody. Everybody's got a shortcoming.
Mm-hmm. What if Lane's in the college football playoff? Do you wait for him?
I think it depends on how deep the run is.
I would say yes. You wait for him, and you just go ahead and put your assistant coach in there and do all the bidding and the recruiting, and it has to be announced that he's leaving. I mean, Lane, but that's a lot to give up. Mm-hmm. You make yourself a lame duck, you may lose the chance of winning a championship.
Now, you can make it through 2 rounds of the playoff before the portal opens.
Right.
With the new rule changes. So you'd have to be pretty deep in to have missed that opportunity. And I think for Florida, it's more about retaining their roster. If you are getting Lane from Ole Miss, he'll be able to pluck the players he wants from there to plug and play with our roster if that's the case. But I think that what it's going to come down to is how much Florida's administration is willing to pay. Because if you are getting a Lane Kiffin or a Marcus Freeman, you are paying $10 to $12 million a year. If you're getting a Drinkwitz or a Brent Key or a Lashley, you are probably paying anywhere from $7 to $9 million.
I think Drinkwitz is making that now.
Well, if he's making that now, then maybe bump him to the other. Interestingly, Marcus Freeman, I looked up today, his buyout's less than $4 million. So
really?
That's an interesting.
Yeah, I think he's a very interesting candidate. We're going to find out. Guys, great job tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming aboard, Kevin and Allie. We had a great time with Coach Kelly, and she was delightful. And don't forget their event coming up tomorrow night at Cave Museum. Going to be a fashion show. I think Kevin and I should be up there on the runway. We could be knocking dead. Huh?
Yeah, I think my fashion show days are over, but
okay.
If you give me a mic, maybe I'll sing a little.
There you go.
Like that, be fun.
All right, guys. Thanks a lot. Very appreciate it very much. All right.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, folks. All right. We're going to wrap it up with a word about our friends at Titan MRI. Titan MRI, one of our many sponsors. We're great sponsors. They have 3 locations to serve you now, 2 in Gainesville with the Park Avenue location, now the Millennium Center, 1 in Lake City, which services not just Lake City, but also all of Columbia County in the area up there. They have an opportunity for you to come in and get your own appointment, customize it if you can't be there in the daytime. They will make it for you at night. They offer the same great customer service as always. They accept insurance and go through their convenient self-pay options. They offer MRIs, CAT scans, X-rays, and ultrasounds, easy scheduling, as I said. Larger MRI machines for patient comfort. That's a big one for me. If you're claustrophobic in the leash, you want to be able to go on those tubes. I feel like you can breathe. No yards, no hospitals. Coming soon to Ocala to better serve Marion County and surrounding. Titan MRI, it's your choice. Thanks again to our guest tonight for Kelly Rae Finley, for Kevin Brockway, Peek-Wilbur, and don't forget tomorrow night we're back again for the final wrap-up. Check out Gator Bait Media, and you should be subscribing to it. It's a special publication. Have a great night.